Hello, friends. How many of us have watched shows or movies where we hear the famous script from a police officer that says to a freshly arrested person, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you." Now, this statement is meant to inform an individual that they have the right against self-incrimination, that whatever they say can be used as evidence, and also inform them that they have access to someone who will advocate for them. If you have been accused of a crime that you did not commit, lawyers recommend that you remain silent. Don't say a word without legal advice, even if you know you are completely innocent. Even if the police contact you and ask you to come down to the police station to just tell us about your side of the story, you can decline to answer any questions without a lawyer present. They also recommend you preserve all digital evidence or documents that could contradict the accusation against you. Another recommendation is to strictly avoid all contact with the accuser. As I mentioned yesterday, 2 Corinthians has a very strong defensive tone to it. And understandably so, because some serious accusations were made against Paul. Some false teachers had come into the congregation and had convinced many to turn their backs on Paul because of the alleged insincerity and fraud. In 2 Corinthians 1:12-14, Paul starts to address these untrue accusations head on and basically uses the rest of his letter to vigorously clear his name. He knew that if he didn't, his message, the gospel, would be rejected. At the end of the day, he didn't really care about himself or what people thought of him because he knew he was an imperfect vessel. But what he deeply cared about and would come to defend, whether hell or high water, was the gospel. Paul would do anything to clear obstacles that got in the way of the gospel. His defense was sincerity and simplicity. He writes, "We're so glad that we can say with utter honesty that in all our dealings we have been pure and sincere, quietly depending upon the Lord for his help and not on our own skills. And that is even more true, if possible, about the way we have acted toward you. My letters have been straightforward and sincere. Nothing is written between the lines. And even though you don't know me very well, I hope someday you will, I want you to try to accept me and be proud of me as you already are to some extent, just as I shall be on you that day when our Lord Jesus comes back again." Paul had a clear conscience that everything he did was out of a pure heart and intentions. Ultimately, God is the judge of our actions, not man. My prayer for you is that we can also have a pure conscience in everything we do. Well, thank you for studying with me today, and I'll see you tomorrow.